There is a glaring problem with the Australian healthcare industry. It is bloated, outdated, inefficient, expensive, and frustrating for everyone involved. Doctors spend hours every day asking their patients the same repetitive questions about their medical and family history, and then spend even more hours of their precious time in the soul-crushing exercise of paperwork and health record maintenance. Their patients' health records are strewn precariously across disconnected private practices and hospital systems, some of which still use paper-based records. But the accessibility of this data, the difficulty in sharing it, and the associated inefficiencies in the recall of patient information aren't even the worst of it. These records also frequently lack basic information, such as demographics, allergies, medical and surgical history, current medications, and adverse drug events. This is crucial, basic, life or death information that is missing in action and putting your life at risk every time you seek healthcare. But what if there was a better way? Esteemed friends and colleagues, we present to you BetterDoc. BetterDoc makes patients' lives better by making doctors' lives easier. We are an all-in-one, AI-backed, vertically integrated solution to the complexities, inefficiencies, and shortcomings of the Australian healthcare system. When a chronically ill patient joins our platform, they are asked to import their historical health records. Then they are directed to speak to our AI chatbot, which by mimicking a patient-clinician interaction, automates the process of collecting the patient's medical history and current symptoms. All this information is stored within our digital, secure, and privacy-centric data backend. The data is then mined using our sophisticated machine learning model, which determines a set of likely diagnoses, assisting the clinician in determining the best diagnosis and course of treatment. Once the consultation is over, our back-end algorithms automate the updating of patient health records, further eliminating hours of soul-crushing paperwork for doctors. The doctor's health advice and prescriptions are sent to an app on the patient's smartphone and stored in a BetterDoc card within their digital wallet. The cost savings from these efficiency gains are divided equally between patients and clinicians, reducing the cost of healthcare while simultaneously increasing clinician compensation. Our monetization strategy involves, quite simply, being initially free for our first customers and then transitioning to charging a small commission on physician-patient consultations, as well as a monthly subscription fee for AI-assisted diagnosis, treatment, and health record maintenance. From our conversations with medical professionals across Australia, 4 in 5 are willing to join and pay for our service. Our competitors are largely one-trick ponies without much power to stop our rise. HotDoc is a search engine for doctors, but is disconnected with no health data integration. My Health Record stores patient health data and allows some sharing capabilities, but makes no use of it. Babylon Health provides online consultations, but doesn't use AI to provide their doctors with diagnostic assistance and treatment recommendations. Our platform is not merely a minor improvement, but rather a step change, a 0 to 1 paradigm shift backed by an ambitious and dedicated team. Our multidisciplinary team has expertise in medicine, machine learning, public health law, marketing, finance, talent acquisition, and management. Through partnerships with private medical practices and general practitioners, we plan to leverage existing GP specialist networks and relationships to bring patients and clinicians to our platform. We're asking you for the funding to develop our platform, data backend, and machine learning model, and the connections to onboard specialist doctors en masse. We're going to make this happen, but we need your help. The future of the healthcare industry rests in our hands. Must we bear that responsibility with all our strength, fortitude, and resolve? We sure do. And we sure hope you join us on that journey. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Team BetterDoc. Very unique setup you have got going there. I'll now move on to the Q&A session. So judges, you may begin your questions.
I had one. Just about the whole sort of fundamental element of this business model or this actual solution being AI. Can you speak to that and tell us, I mean, there's a lot riding on this black box of your AI solutions. What are you doing on that front? Because that seems fairly formidable as a solution that we haven't really heard much about.
Yeah, sure thing. So our AI platform is going to be using a deep learning model. Our model will take some time to develop. I'm personally studying machine learning, but it's going to take me some time to learn all of the fundamentals of it. What we do know is that we're going to be using a reinforcement deep learning model to be able to import patient health records, analyze that data, including things like genetic history, including things like x-rays, radiographs, blood test results. All of that data will be digitized and run through our machine learning model, which essentially will pair patient health outcomes from those health records with those prior diagnostic tests, with those blood test results, with those that genetic information, and it will learn through just sheer amounts of data. In the same way Tesla full self-driving is learning through sheer amounts of data, basically what health conditions are matched to what symptomologies, to what genetic histories, to what family histories, to what slight variations on blood tests or abnormalities on x-rays, and then it will determine a set of diagnoses through time. And that actually gets better as clinicians determine what is the correct diagnosis. So the clinicians are going to initially benefit a little bit from our platform, but over time, as the platform learns from clinician diagnoses, especially when there is a mismatch between the clinician diagnoses and the AI recommendations, it will learn and it will improve. And eventually, we believe it will become superior to clinician judgment. Any other questions?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You go.
No, you go ahead. Yeah, it's okay. Look,
okay.
Go ahead.
So, look, I can't speak to the efficacy of the data model and the like, or its you know, how feasible it is. What I do know is that computational AI around medical imaging and medical diagnoses is incredibly complex and expensive. So how have you validated that your business model is going to come anywhere close to covering your costs of not so much the development, but the actual run cost of managing such a large AI cluster?
Okay, yes. I believe that this service wouldn't have been possible a couple of years ago. We've seen over the past couple of years, the costs of training large-scale AI models come down with rapid exponential decline in cost curves. It is going to still be expensive. It still costs millions of dollars to train such large, complex AI models. However, the healthcare industry is quite large, and a small commission on physician-patient consultations, especially when we provide such extreme value in terms of the time savings, I think is justified. And if you take that small commission across such a large sector, I think we're going to have enough funding to be able to supply our costs. Essentially, it's a very profitable software. Obviously, there's initial costs to developing that software, to developing that model, but scaling that up is a zero-cost endeavor, and that's where the profitability comes in.
And have you validated your pricing model with any doctors? Just having worked with doctors in tech, they don't like paying for much. So
exactly. No one likes paper. No one likes spending hours doing paperwork and updating health records. It's also a problem in America and also in Australia. We have spoken to doctors, many doctors across Australia, across Brisbane, Victoria, and what they've said to us time and time again is, of course, they'd be willing to pay. We've validated our pricing model. About 4 in 5 would be comfortable with the AI and would be comfortable in paying for this particular service if it was indeed proved to work. However, their concern was, will this cause physician complacency? What happens when doctors stop thinking outside of the box because they're being, given these AI recommendations and they're just clicking a button? And we've also done a lot of work to address that concern and address the data privacy concerns as well by providing a disincentive and incentive model where we actually will reimburse physicians if their diagnosis mismatches the AI, because they are helping to train our model. And so we will provide them with zero cost. We will remove their consultation fee. We will waive their monthly service fees because they are helping us in that way. And that helps to ensure that clinicians will stay vigilant in terms of their diagnosis and not rely on what the AI is feeding them, essentially.
All right. Well, thank you, BetterDoc. I have to cut in there. Thank you for your answers, and thank you to the judges for your very comprehensive questions.